We're bringing you details of a developing story coming in from the United States, where former President Donald Trump, who is also campaigning for the upcoming presidential election in the United States, fell to the fore during a speech when he was shot by an attacker in Pennsylvania during a rally. Now, a gunman and a member of the audience was reported dead after the incident where former President Donald Trump was shot, but the former president escaped with a bullet to the ear. Now, two others were also critically injured during the incident. Social media reports are coming up about the incident. Foreign media is also updating this developing story. There are minute-to-minute updates coming up. But before we delve deeper into the details of what happened earlier in the day, let's take a look at footage coming in from when the incident took place.
If you want to really see something that's said, take a look at what happened.
Now, the US calls itself a city upon a hill and a beacon of democracy, and it claims that its political system was designed to defend democracy. But when you take a look at the history of the country, in March 1981, President Ronald Reagan was leaving Washington, D.C. when several shots were fired at him. And then in 1963, President John F. Kennedy was assassinated as he rode in a motorcade in downtown Dallas in Texas. And then in April 1865, we also saw Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, was shot in Washington, D.C. And now in 2024, the 45th President of the United States, Donald Trump, a celebrated president, a renowned political figure, was shot during a campaign rally in Pennsylvania. Now, when Trump was held to his feet, he pumped his fist in the air and shouted, "Fight!" before being ushered away into the vehicle. We're taking a look at footage of that particular incident on your screens right now. The Secret Service said he was now safe and it had implemented protective measures around him. Now, former President Donald Trump took to social media to address the incident that took place earlier in the day. He said on X that he knew immediately that something was wrong in that when he heard a whizzing sound, shots, and immediately felt the bullet ripping through his skin. He said much bleeding took place and he realized what was happening at that very moment. He wanted to thank the United States Secret Service and all of law enforcement for the rapid response at the time, and most importantly, he wanted to extend his condolences to the family of the person in the rally who was killed and to the family of another person who was badly injured. We also have reports from foreign media quoting a witness at the location, and he said that a man with a rifle was seen on a rooftop minutes before shots were fired at former President Donald Trump. He said that he crawled on the top of the building just outside the event, and he had actually pointed the gunman to the police force, and then he questioned why such an incident took place when he had also informed the police force about what was happening. This was an interview that took place with a witness at the time. Let's take a look at the footage and what he had to say about the particular incident.
We noticed a guy crawling, bear crawling up the roof of the building beside us, 50 feet away from us. So we're standing there, and we're pointing at the guy crawling up the roof.
And he had a gun, right?
He had a rifle. We could clearly see him with a rifle. Absolutely. We're pointing at him. The police are down there running around on the ground. We're like, "Hey, man, there's a guy on the roof with a rifle." And the police were like, "Huh, what?" Like they didn't know what was going on. We're like, "Hey, right here on the roof, we can see him from right here. We see him. He's crawling." Next thing you know, I'm thinking to myself, why is Trump still speaking? Why have they not pulled him off the stage? I'm standing there pointing at him for 2 or 3 minutes. Secret Service is looking at us from the top of the barn. I'm pointing at that roof, just standing there like this, and next thing you know, 5 shots ring out.
Now, federal investigators have identified the attacker to be a 20-year-old from Pennsylvania, and this was confirmed by 5 senior U.S. law enforcement officials who were briefed on the matter. The male attacker was also shot by Secret Service officials after the attempted assassination on former President Donald Trump. Now, we also have footage of former President Donald Trump being directed to hospital after the incident unfolded, and he was shot in his ear. Let's take a look at that footage as well.
He's friendly.
Oh, I'm a dog person.
Oh, okay. He's very chill. Shy.
Can I say hello?
They're primitive. They live in the wilds of Mexico. They're born, their ears are not cut. That's how they're born. No hair and Joe Principe, the Aztec name. Mexican hairless is easier to remember.
I'm sorry, I'm a little scared.
But he won't bite.
Now, later in the day, the FBI formally called this attack on former President Donald Trump, who was at a campaign rally in Pennsylvania, an assassination attempt, and said that a motive wasn't immediately apparent. But this is what the FBI had to say. Let's take a look.
The first thing I want to say is that the FBI stands with the people of Butler County in western Pennsylvania, and our hearts go out to the victims of this heinous act which occurred today. This is our community, and I want to let the public know that the FBI has deployed a number of our resources, including investigative agents, our evidence response team, bomb technicians, and we have additional resources coming from other field offices, as well as from FBI headquarters, including our evidence response from Quantico, Virginia. We have intelligence analysts as well, working from our field office in Pittsburgh, working feverishly to attempt to identify the individual who did this and any motives behind why this was done. Right now, we need the public's help. Anyone who was on scene, who saw anything, who identified any information, please report that to the FBI using either the phone number 1-800-CALL-FBI or online at fbi.gov/Butler. This evening we had what we're calling an assassination attempt against our former president, Donald Trump. It's still an active crime scene. As I mentioned, we have a number of agents on scene. We also are working closely with other federal agencies, our state partners, and our local police partners as well.
Now, President of the United States, Joe Biden, also condemned the incident that unfolded earlier in the day. He also got in contact with Donald Trump, who is campaigning against him in the upcoming U.S. presidential election. He said that there is no place in America for this kind of violence, and he had a couple of views to express about this particular incident, and he convened a press briefing in Delaware to express views. Let's take a look at the press briefing as well.
There's no place in America for this kind of violence. It's sick. It's sick. It's one of the reasons why we have to unite this country. We cannot allow for this to be happening. We cannot be like this. We cannot condone this. And I want to thank the Secret Service and all the agencies, including the state agencies, that have been engaged in making sure that the people who, and we have more detail to come relative to other people maybe injured in the audience. I don't have all that detail. We'll make that available to you. I may be able to come back a little later tonight, but we'll put out a statement if I'm not able to if it's not convenient for you all. But the bottom line is, the Trump rally was a rally that he should have been able to be conducted peacefully without any problem. But the idea that there's political violence or violence in America like this is just unheard of. It's just not appropriate. And everybody must condemn it. Everybody.
Now, presidents and prime ministers across the world expressed a shock at the attack on former President of the United States, Donald Trump. Presidents and prime ministers globally spoke out against political violence and expressed their support for those affected by the shooting, which killed one audience member and left 2 others critically injured as well, as we mentioned to you earlier before. Let's take a look at some views expressed by these presidents, diplomats and political figures. Former President of the United States Barack Obama wrote on X and said that there is absolutely no place for political violence in the US democracy. Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe also had to comment on the attack that took place. He expressed his shock about the assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump and was relieved to learn that he was safe. The president said that Sri Lankans have been at the receiving end of such violence in politics and urged all to adhere to the laws protecting democracy. At the same time, the European Union's foreign policy chief Joseph Borrell condemned the attack. And then we have the recently appointed British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, who said that he was appalled by the shocking scenes at the rally. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi said he was deeply concerned by the attack on what he called his friend. And then we have Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida, who also spoke out against the political attack, saying that we must stand firm against any form of violence that challenges democracy. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said that he was shocked by the terrible scenes at the Trump campaign event, expressing his relief that the former US president was indeed safe. So these are the latest updates from the incident that unfolded earlier today on the attack on former President Donald Trump, who was campaigning for the upcoming elections at a rally in Pennsylvania. The attacker has already been shot by the Secret Services. We also have footage of Donald Trump since he survived the assassination attempt in Pennsylvania. He can be seen walking off a plane and waving briefly in New Jersey. And then we have the FBI, who formally called this an attempted assassination and said that investigations will be launched. Stay tuned to News First, and we will bring you the latest updates on this incident that unfolded in the United States earlier today. A more comprehensive report is, of course, coming up on our primetime news bulletin at 9 tonight. So stay tuned to News First.